Okay, so I'm just going to start with going around Bill Edwin right here. Yeah, just introduce yourselves as you come around.
Bob Burke, Jeff Burke,
Sandra Burke.
Okay, so the Burke family there.
James Harris, and Pat Harris,
And Pat taught with Steve.
Judy Rabinowitz,
Judy Rabinowitz knows Steve through Camera Club.
Darlene and Edward Orr.
Darlene worked with Steve at Fitzgerald's.
The deli department, yeah. I'm Diane Fisher.
Carolyn Tiska.
And Marilyn and her daughter.
And I've known Steve since I was little.
Goes way back,
Yep.
and Marilyn's husband Bill and Steve taught together initially and stayed good friends for many years, even after where they went to different schools. And I'm Chris Fisher, and I taught with Steve for many years and did photography. So, why don't we just go around in any order, anyone who would like to say just a few things that you remember about Marge, okay?
Hi, I just wanted to say we've visited the Underwoods twice in Florida since they retired down there. And the first time we went, Marge made us this squash galat, you know, and I took a picture of it and I always have it with me. And tomorrow I'm going to make that in memory of her from this occasion. It's really delicious. And I also remember the beautiful cards she used to make and send to us too. Yeah. And so we're going to miss her, and thank you for doing this.
Yeah. Anyone else?
I have some.
Okay, over here.
When I was 18, I went and spent quite a few weeks at Ocean City, Maryland with Marge and Steve. It was quite a different environment. And my basic memories are they had gallons of booze stacked in the corner of the kitchen. And I was 18, and when I was 18, it was legal for me to drink. I'm not sure if it was in Maryland. But Marge and I, after the kids went to bed, we would go out, we'd have our drinks, and we would sit on the lifeguard towers at night, and there was nobody there. And I'll never forget, one, her laughter and her smile. She had a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful smile. But I had a wonderful summer that summer with them.
Nice.
And this is Nancy's mother, who did not know she was down there with the Underwoods drinking. I had been told that she was down there babysitting.
During the day, during the day.
Okay.
Well, I met Steve and Marge, as Chris said, about 20 years ago at the Camera Club. And Marge came with Steve to many of the meetings, and that's when I met her. And I immediately reacted to her warmth and her friendliness. Took me a little while to get over Steve's puns, but once I got there, that was fine. But it was immediately apparent how good they were together and how wonderful. And Marge's warmth just shone through. And with the work that she did, both as an OB nurse and then as an assault counselor in Florida, I can't imagine a better person to help people out. And I'm sure she will continue that now.
Marge's smile, her personality, and her very presence were a gift. They were a gift to all who knew her because she could light up a room with all three of them. Her smile was at once bright, cheery, but it was also serious and meaningful. What I mean by that is that her smile was more than skin deep. It was an uplifting smile that at once radiated peace and acceptance. You could tell Marge your deepest secrets, your worst fears, and you could either ask for advice or just enjoy the delight of a family get-together with her and Steve at TGIF's restaurant. Her smile was always there. It was a reflection of her personality, and by personality I mean this. Marge was a genuine person who was more than skin deep in everything that she said and did. And I'm shaking myself here. I gotta get to my notes. She has saved the lives of many hundreds of people, quite literally, and she never ever expected even one word of thanks for it. Why did she do it? And I'm shaking here. Why? Because she was Marge. She was true and faithful to the world. She was true and faithful to her husband and to her family. Most of all, she was true and faithful to the basic principles of human decency. She was the most respecting person with an ing on it that I have ever met. And what that means is that you knew you could trust Marge. She could regale the table with tales of presidents and governors and senators, as well as fun stories about just everyday human foibles. And not until 6 months later did I discover, for instance, that she was actually a relative of the U.S. president that she had just told us the funny stories about.
Oh, yeah.
She was
California Nixons.
She was the kindest and most unpretentious of all persons. And her presence was something that my wife and I always look forward to. God lives on in the deeds that we do on this earth. And this means that Marge will live on forever. Because her good deeds will live on forever in all of the lives that she has touched.
We always,
Boy.
over there. I have just two funny memories or thoughts. First is, does everyone remember the little white convertible?
Oh, yeah.
There was a complete mismatch for the person, but she loved the little white convertible. And then trying to change the roof and put the hard top on in bad weather. And then also the famous, she would sympathize with everyone and roll her eyes with you when everyone got those free tickets. She was there with you, rolling her eyes going, oh God, Steve. So two funny, happy memories. So.
I just want to say I have very fond memories of both Marge and Steve, of course, but Marge especially, she helped me meet my future-to-be wife, and because they had worked together in labor and delivery, and I'll always be grateful for them for that. It was a great time. And also want to remember all the different sailing trips and all the boat trips on the pontoon boat, and just lots and lots of fun times. I hope Marge rests in peace.
Marge always made us feel comfortable, and she was a wonderful, wonderful person. We too went on the pontoon boats, which was a favorite thing for us to do, and Steve knows that. I just finished a puzzle this morning that was Marge's puzzle that Steve sent to me, because I sent him a picture of it this morning. We really liked her. She was a very genuine, wonderful person.
She knew a lot about the birds.
Say something. We were just down in Florida in March, just before COVID decided we better get home, and visited with them for a couple of days. We've visited with them many times in Florida, luckily to go down and visit family and friends too. But we have known them since the day we moved, married, to Connecticut. They were superintendents of the Farmington Village Apartments where we lived, and Steve remembers looking out the window and seeing Chris carry me, if you can imagine that, across the threshold into our first apartment. Now I don't think he could
Sure,
but I was
could.
much thinner then. And since then, with Chris teaching at Bloomfield with them, doing wedding photography, the four of us just hung around all the time together. And it was just an amazing friendship, and I'm so glad we got to see her in March. And Steve will be down as soon as this is over. We'll be back down. Here, Christian.
I have to add, Diane, if you can hold this for a second, without touching it. I have to add a story to Jeff's that's one of my favorite remembrances of Marge with her little blue BMW. If you remember that sports car, Marge had a thing for wanting nice little sports cars. And right after she got that, they were living on Hamilton Lane, and we went over. Marge wanted to show it to us, and she was so excited. And she said, "Here, let me show you this car." And she jumped in the car and put it in reverse and backed up, but didn't close the driver's door and whacked off the whole driver's door. Right there, brand new car.
Oh, do you
Brand
remember
new
that,
car.
Steve? Do you remember that?
But we had so many wonderful times with them. Still will with Steve again. Camping just recently, had a wonderful
Bill?
camping trip with Bill Edwin down in the mountains of, where was it, North Carolina?
Yep.
And too many things to go into. But
Yeah.
Steve said, I don't know if I can get through this. This is something he wrote for Marge on
You want me to read
on
it?
their 5th anniversary. How is it possible to convey one's feelings for his love for you? Words are so inadequate for you, my love. I give my feelings, my spirit, my life. In return, you radiate your warmth and feelings, your happiness and sorrows. Why do I love you? Because you are you. You are my reason for being.
That's beautiful. Beautiful.
Okay.
It says, Eternal God, whose days are without end and whose mercies cannot be numbered, help us to be conscious of the brevity and uncertainty of all human life. May your Holy Spirit lead us all our days, so that when we shall have served you in our time, we may be gathered to our ancestors, having a good conscience in the communion of the church, in the confidence of a sure faith, in the comfort of a holy hope, in favor with you, our God, and at peace with the world. And somehow that just sort of seemed Marge to me as I read it. So I share it with you. Thank you.
Okay. And Steve, here you are on the phone, so you'll be in the video too. I'm so glad you were able to join us.
Anybody else? 'Cause I just
Anybody
have a
else
benediction.
something final to say? Well, here we
I just
all
wanna
are.
say that, I was going to say that, you know, in the Jewish religion, when we go visit someone at a grave, we always put a stone on in remembrance. So we're all going to put a stone at the end.
Okay.
And I just have a benediction that's been used. Again, as I read it, I just thought of Marge. It says, remember, life is short, and we do not have too much time to gladden the hearts of those who travel the way with us. So be swift to love and make haste to be kind. And I think that sums up Marge.
Yes.
So thank you, people, for coming.
Well, we're wrapping it up. What is the significance of this?
I was afraid someone would ask.
There's a lot of interpretations. The most popular is just so you know that somebody's in
I know.
It just shows that someone's memory.
Okay, bye-bye.
Because you can see
Yeah, we were using his before. I don't know who those are.
Goodbye.